What's up, guys? Welcome back. Glad you're here. On today's episode, we got a really cool one for you. That's right, we're going to switch it up a little bit, and we're going to talk about what's the best standard deck to use when doing Magic. So, buckle in your seatbelts, because we're going there. Let's go! Alright, so not a lot of people know that there are options when it comes to standard decks. And what I mean by that is a lot of people think that the only option is the standard deck, right? That you can get anywhere, but we'll get into that in a minute. I just want to kind of set this up and explain this real quick, why I wanted to do this video. These decks that I'm going to show you one of these decks is for you. This might not be one of your favorites, right? Like me, this personally isn't one of my favorites. I perform a lot with it because it's cheap, but so are all of these. There are a lot of people. Now, there are some probably watching this going, yeah, we all know about those. You might, and that's fine. I'm not saying that you shouldn't know, but there are others, people you wouldn't even imagine, that don't know about these decks, right? People like Chris Ramsey, for instance. If you watch one of his latest videos, he was watching one of his Reddit things, I believe it was, and somebody brought out a deck and he was just like, whoa, what is that deck? Like, not everybody knows about everything. Just because you're in the Magic community doesn't mean you know everything about Magic. Same with cardistry, same with collecting, same with everything, right? There's always a barrier or some kind of cutoff to where people are pretty ignorant to things, so to speak, that are out. And that's why I wanted to do this video. I wanted to give you guys options, right? You don't have to just use this or this or this or that. You can use all of them, right? These are all in that pretty much $5 price range. And that's the best part about this. You can still have your cheap deck, but it feels like a top $12, $15, $20 name brand tier deck. And that's why. So we're going to go over these decks here. So we're going to be looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different decks. And like I said, hopefully by the end of this video, you guys are more apt to knowing what's for you. We're going to be looking at the standard deck, okay, that you can find anywhere. We're going to be looking at the Blue Seal Rider backs, excuse me, that used to be printed at the old Cincinatti plant, that are very sought after. We're going to be looking at the Richard Turner Gold Standard deck. We're going to be also looking at the Elite Edition deck by Penguin Magic, and last but not least, the new Supreme Line deck by Difatta Magic. So join me on this journey as we go through these decks, and let's get into this. All right, so the first deck we're going to look at, if you guys are not already familiar, is the standard deck. Like I said, these can be found at your favorite grocery store chains, anywhere around gas stations, you name it. These are everywhere. These are in about that $3 price range, okay, give or take. Walmart, Kmart, wherever you see them. These are great. Magicians everywhere use these for practicing, beating them up, performing, the whole nine. You can write on these. You don't care none the least because you paid $3. Like I said, these decks have the Black Seal, okay? These are Black Seal, and that's going to come into play when we get to these decks here. Okay, these decks are printed in the new Kentucky plant by United States Playing Card Company. These do have, it's still a modern cut and an air cushion emboss. Okay, so these cards feel great right out the box. Not broken in per se. No cards really feel broken in. I hate when people say that. Oh man, I took this deck out the box and it feels like I've been playing with it for years. No, you haven't. Shut up. So with this deck, you're not going to get, unfortunately, any kind of Gaff cards or anything. You're just going to get 2 ad cards, okay? Just going to be your regular bicycle add cards, just kind of, visit our store. You want to learn about games, do this. This is our Twitter handle, blah, blah, the whole nine, okay? Nothing fancy, no double backers, no blank facers, nothing like that. Pretty cut and dry, standardized deck. You are going to get 2 original Jokers. They are not duplicates in the sense of color. They are duplicates in the sense of design, but that is about it, okay? One's black and white, and the other one is in full color. Pretty cool. Which is also going to come into play here in a little bit as we get to these other decks. But yeah, the deck feels great. Feels like any kind of USPCC style deck that you're used to. Once you break these in, the one thing you will notice is that these do kind of clump up a little bit. Not majorly, but I would say if you're a person like myself who likes to put on like a lot of lotion on your hands and stuff like that, I would say be careful because yes, these do like to, clump up. So be aware. Once you play with them for about 2 days, not even fully, just off and on, sometimes right away even. These are really weird. They feel really nice. The newer style stock that they're using, I don't know if it's a new paper or what, but even on the newer decks that we see from like even my deck, the Paradigms, a lot of the newer stock that they're using feels really soft right out the box, which is nice, especially if you're in the cardistry. You're not worried about, sharp edges and things when you're going to put things in different grips and stuff like that. So yeah, like I said, about $3. You can get this anywhere pretty much, and yeah, I recommend these. So that's the standard deck by Bicycle Playing Cards. Let's get to the next one. All right, the next deck on our list is going to be the Blue Seal deck. Now, really quick background on these. Like I said, this would come into play as far as the Black Seal. You're gonna see the difference here in the colors. Okay, these are your Blue Seal decks, and this is the Black Seal. Now, what sets these very much apart is the fact that these were printed at the old plant in Cincinnati, Ohio, which is where I live in Ohio. I don't live in Cincinnati, thank God, but I do live in Ohio. But these are like one of the most sought after decks by collectors and magicians alike because of the stock they were printed on. The old machines, everything about it is rare, kind of like, that certain nostalgia that comes with it, kind of like the Jerry's Nuggets has, not so much because, these weren't embossed on one side, these weren't, embossed by a cotton roller on one side and, chemically dipped and all that kind of stuff. Now, there was a different process back then compared to now, but yeah, you can always identify these by the Blue Seals. Now, if I'm not mistaken, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm almost 100% positive that there were a handful of Blue Seals printed after they moved to Kentucky. Now, I don't know necessarily if they were printed in Kentucky when they moved or if it was just leftover stock from moving from Cincinnati. But there were a handful, not many, but a handful of Blue Seals that still made it to market once they moved to Kentucky. But yeah, these are on a way thicker stock. And there is a cool thing too. There are 2 different Blue Seals. Now, not a lot of people know this. There's the regular Blue Seals, and then there's what's called the Clear Seal. Now, I do have a Clear Seal. I have a bunch of unopened Blue Seals that if you follow me on Instagram, you guys have seen I posted. I love Blue Seals. I have a bunch of old decks, Arco decks, bicycle decks, the whole nine from the 70s, 80s, and on up. I love them. I like collecting. So this is a Clear Seal. If you look here, you'll see that where that blue is, there's no white on the outside because the glue has eaten that, okay, compared to this Blue Seal. See the difference? See the white border that goes around that seal? Okay, that lets you know that there was a different glue. These are a little bit older as well because that glue has eaten through that part of the seal. I did some research on it. That's the only reason I found out about this. So this deck here is from 2000, I believe it was 2000. This deck, on the other hand, I believe is from 90. Yeah, this deck hasn't even been shuffled. I mean, I love this deck. This is just way thicker stock. I mean, it feels amazing. But let's see, we got two ad cards here. It's 96. So you're talking 23 years, almost 24 years for this deck here, the clear seal. The blue seal, like I said, this is still 19, almost 20 years old, which is still crazy. But this one here in itself is just, yeah, love this deck. So the difference also, since I got this one out already, I'll just show you guys. There's different types of ad cards that these came with. This one here came with like buy t-shirts or sweatshirts from Bicycle, different size charts and things like that. The other card is 50 cents off, which is pretty cool. This is of course not valid anymore, 23 years later. But, all these different blue seals didn't have like they do now, where they had the same ad cards in them every time you buy a deck. They did different promotions. For instance, this one here is you can win a Dodge Dakota. So inside this one, I believe there's, unless I took them out, I'm not positive. Oh, they're in here. Yeah, this one here, see, this one has different prices for different bicycle, books and stuff like that. And then this one is like the ad card on how to enter the contest to win the Dodge Dakota. So, different things. They were always running different promotions and stuff like that, which is really cool. The one thing that these two decks always do have in common, because they're both blue seal decks, and is also another reason why these decks are sought after, is the Jokers. The Jokers, back then, they had what's called a guarantee Joker. So you got the regular black and white one, which you see now, but then you also have this guarantee Joker. Now, the guarantee Joker, the reason why everybody liked it is because on here it says, if a manufacturing defect is found in this deck before it has been extensively used, we will be glad to replace it. You return the Ace of Spades and the defective card to the address back then, like I said, which was in Cincinnati. So pretty cool that you can, if you bent a card or whatever on accident and the deck wasn't too far gone, that they would replace it. All you had to do is send the Ace of Spades, which is also a cool thing. As you can see here on the bottom, hopefully the camera can pick this up. At the very bottom, there's a serial number, which tells you what lot that deck is from, and that's when they can give you that same exact card, which is really cool. But yeah, once again, these are still modern cut, air cushion embossed. Just like I said, they're on a way different paper stock. They were printed with a different machine back then. So just everything is just different and better. The deck just glides. It's really nice. These cards last so much longer than the newer style decks, which is really great. But yeah, love these decks. Love them. This is the reason why I got a handful of them that I'll probably never open, pass them along to my kids, and so on and so forth. But needless to say, great deck. The only way you're going to get these is off like eBay and stuff. Your grandmother's house, if you're visiting, she's probably got a handful of these bad boys sitting around, probably open and unopened. So if she does, I'd say get them off of her and check these out. Or if you can get them on eBay, like I said, I've seen these on eBay. They're no more than like $10, but you can even, I've seen posts where these are like $5-6. So yeah, I mean, they're not like rare to where it's like, oh my God, look at this item. I mean, but they're rare enough. So yeah, that's the Riderback. Like I said, the regular original Riderback 808s. And the reason they get the name 808s, I mentioned this in a previous review, but at the bottom on the UPC, if you look at the last barcode number, I hope the camera's picking this up, it says 808 on the last numbers. And that's how these decks got their names. 808s. If you look at the Arcos, they're, I'd have to go look at them. They have different numbers as well. Same with the Bs, same with, whatever. That's the cool thing about it. Same with the the 807s and the mandolin backs and the I can't think of it right now. There's so many decks. It's crazy. But yeah. So just a little FYI for you guys that don't know how they got the name 808. They also have the number 808 underneath bicycle there on the ace of spades. That's not how they got the name, just so you guys know. It's because of that barcode number at the bottom. The last 3 digits say 808. So yeah, pretty cool. So let's look at the next one. All right, so the next one is going to be the Richard Turner Gold Standard deck. Gold Standard because they are the gold standard. As you can see here, it says traditionally cut for the professional on the back. And they are not the Richard Turners unless they have that as well as that gold seal. Now, as you know, I've touched base on this just a minute ago. There are different color seals. So you're going to have the blue seals, the black seals. You're also going to see red seals and gold seals and lions and tigers, oh my, okay? But like I said, usually when they have the gold seals, such as these decks, the Aristocrat Banknote 727s, those also have gold seals on them. A lot of those are very much so Q1 decks. Now, Q1 deck is top of the line. The highest quality assurance has been brought out for that deck. Speaking of Q1 quality assurance, Richard Turner is actually the head of the quality assurance department over at Bicycle Playing Cards. He's a lifetime ambassador. He looks over all of his decks as well as others. He has a lot of input on the brand, and they trust his opinions. So yeah, he actually has a lifetime of bicycle cards at his dispense. So pretty cool. He's also not only a 2-time Close-Up Magician of the Year winner, but he's also blind. Yeah. How crazy is that? He's full Penn and Teller. I'm sure you've seen him on Fool Us. He's got a lot of different accolades. Don't let his blindness fool you. Like he says, he'd rather be blind than procrastinate or be lazy, because those are the true handicaps in life. And I agree, 100%. So yeah, this deck is great. Like I said, these are one of the first traditionally cut bicycle decks you're gonna see. And we'll get to that here also, but this was one of the first ones ever to be traditionally cut as far as a standard deck of bikes, which is also great. And the cool thing is he kind of left these, that nostalgia in place, on here, even though they weren't. He put that these are printed at the old Cincinnati plant. Now, like I said, they were not. That's just the ad copy he was allowed to put on there. As you can see, same thing, 808 at the bottom, like I just spoke about earlier. Everything is pretty much in place as far as the old blue seal decks, right, that you're gonna see. Air cushion finish, made in the USA. Like I said, the Cincinatti, everything is all the same. But it's not the same because these are printed at the new plant. Years ago, I wish I can get my hands on these. If anybody has a deck, let me know. I would love to get it. He also did the gold standard B decks, which is really cool. I would love to get my hands on a couple of those. But yeah. So, because if you're not familiar with him, also he's a definite table guy. He does a lot of gambling demonstrations. He doesn't even call himself a magician. He kind of really isn't, even though he dabbles in magic. He's more of what he calls a card mechanic, because he fixes card games and things like that. I mean, he's an ex-hustler. He's been in trouble with, bad people. So with this deck, just, a difference between it and the other decks is these do come with different Gaff cards. With these decks, you're going to get, this deck, you're going to get a blank face card, which is really cool. So these, like I always tell you guys, you can write messages, you can do disappearing ink effects, things like that. It's just a blank face, nothing on it, and then the back design on the other. And then the other card you're going to get is an ad card, just, talks about Richard Turner, aka the cheat. And then it's going to be a photocopy image of a letter personally to him from Di Vernon, just talking about how Di Vernon, who, as I'm sure you know, is a legend as well, said he's never seen anybody, work a deck of cards like him. So pretty cool accolade to have. These are also going to have 2 duplicate identical jokers, which is great for sandwich effects and so on and so forth, like I always talk about as well. These are both the black and white version of those jokers, so not one colored, one black and white. These are both black and white, so pretty cool. Other than that, like I said, this deck is air cushion embossed. It does have a traditional cut, so these table faro really well, unlike the other decks. Pretty cool. So it's not just top to bottom, it's just not bottom to top. These do faro very well. So yeah, great deck. So you can get these, like I said, I'll link all these decks below, every one of them, even the blue seals if I can, to where you can check them out. I believe I got mine from Penguin Magic. They usually have them. If not, you can get them pretty much at any other place for about $3.80-ish, $3.85. Not even $4, and you get a deck that feels like it's $15. So can't beat it. So let's get to the next one. All right, the next deck on our list is the, you got it, Elite Edition by Penguin. Now, these decks, if you're familiar with them, if you're not, I'm still going to tell you anyway. These sell out a lot. These are a very, very, very sought after deck of cards. One of the thinnest decks of cards you're going to find. And they're back in stock. So I'll link it below for you guys to check out. Like I said, Penguin just re-released these again. Like I said, they've sold out at least 3 times that I know of in the past 2 years. I mean, that's crazy. They make thousands of these decks and they're just gone because they're that good. But the Elite Edition, as you can see here on the box, it's going to look like your standard 808 rider back box, but where it says rider back, it's going to say Elite Edition. Now, I've reviewed these. It was my second review ever on the channel. I'm sure you guys have checked it out. If you didn't, don't check it because it's old and probably bad and cringy. But like I said, the cool thing about these is there's 2 different versions, and it's funny because I didn't even realize this. So one of the biggest things that Penguin proclaimed about this deck, right, is that you won't get a click. Now, a click is when you have your deck and you're using it obsessively or whatever the case, and when you go like this, which this one has, very lightly, not too much, but it has it, as you just heard. They tried to say that these are unclickable, which is a lie. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I mean, that's a great but bold statement, of course. But on the V1s compared to the new ones that I just got, which are these, the difference is on this side, it says super thin premium stock. Now, I don't know if that's like, if they use a different stock or what, but these are really thin. That's all I gotta say. I mean, these are one of the thinnest decks that I've ever held. I don't even know what to compare them to. If I had to, I would probably say they're really close to the Virtuoso feel. The FW17s. That's the only deck I can really compare them to. They also feel kind of like my Paradigm deck, the more that I mess with them. They're very thin, very snappy, responsive cards, which is great. But these also come with ad cards, but this time you get 2. So you're going to get your double backer, which has the back design on both sides, which I'll be doing a tutorial soon to show you guys some cool things you can do with the double backer. And you get a blank facer again as well, which is also cool. So you get 2 Gaff cards this time. And the difference is you're going to get those same jokers, but they're both in full color. Pretty cool, right? So same thing, those are identical, which is great for different magic effects. The deck, just like all the other ones in this review, are all standard all the way across the board. That way, these are great for magic, cardistry. It don't matter what you use these for. Poker night with the boys, you know, playing rummy with your grandmother. It don't matter. Great deck of cards. So, like I said, these are about the same price as the Richard Turners. These are about $3, $3.50, $3.85 in that range. It all depends on who's selling them. Like I said, Penguin Magic is the creators of this. As you can see on the bottom of the box, you see the P3 letting you know whose deck this is, okay? So, and the other cool thing is these don't have a seal at all. So you just get these right out the cellophane, pop them bad boys open, and you're in business. So yeah, pretty cool. But yeah, like I said, as far as the no click thing, the only decks I ever seen that have no click at all are Cardamundi. Cardamundi, that's the reason why I'm such a big ambassador of their brand, which, as you know, they have now officially purchased United States Playing Card Company, so even Bicycle is Cardamundi technically. But Cardamundi cards are the only ones I've never had an issue with the click. I've never seen a Cardamundi deck click, period. So yeah, but other than that, this is a great deck of cards. All these are, for that matter, but that is the Elite Edition by Penguin Magic. Let's get to the last deck, shall we? All right, the last deck, but certainly not least, is the all-new Supreme line deck. Okay, this is by Difatta Magic. If you're not familiar with Difatta, Difatta is I believe they're out of Italy, if I'm not mistaken. You probably know of them from doing the Magic 8 Nox with Alex Pandrea and the Blue Crown. They also were the first ones to ever do a fully customizable bicycle deck. The first ones ever, even before the Black Tiger deck by Illusionist. They were the first ones. They did this like almost like a tie-dye-ish cut. You can watch the video. I believe I think Alex Pandrea put it up on his channel talking about it, but they were the first ones to do it, which is pretty cool. But yeah, so Difatta Magic, like I said, these are new on the scene. These are really reminiscent of the Elite Edition I just showed you guys. A couple differences, which we'll get into here in a moment. Like I said, Supreme line here. Back to, like I said, where the other one said Elite Edition or Rider Back, these say Supreme line, because these are supposed to be like Supreme. These are supposed to be the bad boys, all right? Same thing, no tuck seal, easy to get to, which is great, especially if you're in a hurry or whatever. The couple differences in this deck, like I said, these are traditionally cut still, just like the last two I showed you, the Richard Turners as well as the Elite Edition, which makes these great for table pharaohs and the whole nine. The deck feels great. The stock on these is awesome, still air cushion embossed, which is also great. You can't use a deck without air cushion. I'm sorry, it's just not gonna happen. If you do, just don't even try it. So as far as extras, now this is interesting, and I'm gonna explain why. So you're gonna get one Joker. Yep, Uno Joker. That's it, one Joker. It's a full color Joker. Now, there's kind of an up to this, I guess. It depends on how you want to look at it. If you're a glass half full or half full, or you know, half empty type of guy, it depends. But like me, I brought another Joker to my deck from a regular standard deck, right? It doesn't matter, they both have the same back. It's not like one's marked or something, you know what I mean? But if you're that upset like I am, I need to have my Jokers. I love duplicate Jokers. That's like a given for me, right? That's like a make or break. So if that upsets you, that's all you gotta do is just find another color Joker, which like I said, you can get from any bicycle deck for that matter, and put it in there. But yeah, one Joker, like really? Come on, guys. The next card is going to be this really cool Gaff card for the 10 of Hearts. Really cool, looks like the pips fell. You can do a lot of cool little effects with these, you know. I'm not gonna get into it right now, but yeah, I'm sure you can imagine what you could do with something like this. So, pretty cool. You don't see that a lot, especially nowadays. You're going to get a double backer, which is also great, and a blank face also. So you're gonna get pretty much 3 Gaff cards and 1 Joker. Now, that's the only thing that I don't like about this deck. Otherwise, feels great. You know, it's an awesome deck. It really is. It's really thin. I mean, super thin. These, man, they're almost too thin, but they're right around the same stock as, and thickness of the Elites. I believe the Elites are still about 1 or 2 cards thinner, if I'm not mistaken. But even then, still a great deck of cards. It's not like, they offer this as a performer's deck. I mean, you get that Gaff card, you get the blank face, you get the double backer, because you're going to be performing with this, and that's what it's aimed after. I just wish that they didn't bring this into it, and they did that. If they did that, now I see why they didn't, because if they did that, they would be the same as the last 2 decks I showed you, pretty much, right? Or at least the last one, because it would have 2 color jokers, and it would be just the same. It would just have a different name to it. So I see why. They wanted to have that relevance. They wanted you to have a reason to kind of to set them apart. So I see why, but it's not a big deal. It's not like it's a make or break. It's not like, oh my God, I don't have my jokers. Just put another one in there and call it a day, right? So great deck all the way around. Way better stock. This is more of like a premium stock. You can feel it the minute it touches your hands. This one probably feels the best out of all of these. But if I had to pick a winner, which, I mean, that's not what this is about, I would have to say my favorite of all of these is going to be my Blue Seals. Blue Seal decks all day long. These hold up. They're just great. It's sad that these are hard to find. I'm a firm believer in if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I wish they would have, not sold the old machines when they moved. When they sold the old machines, if you're not familiar, when they moved to Kentucky, the machines that were there, whoever bought the new building, that bought the new machines, they made them sign a contract that they can't use them to print cards. So there's like a non-compete contract with them and stuff like that. What they use the machines for, who knows? Who cares really? But I wish they would have at least took those machines with them to still make these great decks. Now, I'm not saying they don't make great decks. Of course they do. They make some of the best decks available. But there's something about these that is just amazing. If I had to pick a second deck, I would have to say it's going to be the gold standards. These are just great. These are amazing. If you're going to buy a bicycle deck, it's crazy because these in the stores at a gas station or a grocery store cost more than one of these. And these are so much of a better deck. So much of a better deck. But like I said, it's all personal preference for you guys. Of course, these are easiest to get a hold of. These you really gotta order, as well as the other ones as well. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. I've been wanting to bring a lot of different content to the channel to kind of switch it up for you guys, and just kind of break down some things for people that might not have the outlets to see what's out there, or things like that, to kind of open your eyes to see that there are options. It's not just about this or this or this, that there are things for everybody, and that's what it's about. So like I said, if you guys enjoyed this, please leave a like on this video. Leave a comment below if you guys want to see some more cool videos like these, if this is something that you enjoyed me doing. And you know what? Let me know what kind of content you want to see. Do you want to see some tutorials? Do you want to see more in-depth stuff like this? Do you want to see more reviews? Of course I'm always going to do reviews, but you get what I'm saying. So let me know in the comments. Feel free to let me know, as well as if you got anything out of this video. Did you know about half of these decks? What's your favorite? Things like that. So yeah. So I love you guys as always. I'll see you beautiful people. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you later.